Oh, that's so lame. Whoa. Hey guys. Sorry about that. What's going on? It's dhdsracer back here for another review. This time I picked up a parkzone Ultra Micro Series T-28 Trojan. A buddy actually shipped this to me for my birthday, and it was a awesome gift. This thing is so much fun. I was blown away at how small and light and how you can fly it really slow. You know, most of the time you see these little things and you think they're kind of little gimmick RC planes where you can barely control them and you're limited to flying either at night or in the house because it's got some stupid infrared remote. This is not. This is a full-on 4-channel warbird that is, it's an RC plane. It's just tiny. I mean, it is a full control, awesome little plane to fly. I was really blown away. This thing has got to be one of the most fun planes I've ever flown. You can do all the basics. You can see I do a ton of inverted flight here. If you want the plane to be a little bit whippier, go ahead and take the control horns and you know, take the rods and move them all the way to the inside of the control horn on your control surfaces. That'll give you the most amount of throw. And I did that almost right off the bat. Also, if you wanted to get a little bit more roll rate, you do have to split open the fuselage, which is just, you basically cut through a little bit of tape and some decals, and the fuselage halves come right apart. And you'll see two options for the control bell crank. And you move it to the other option, and you'll get probably twice as much throw out of your aileron, so you can get a faster roll rate. Because even at that point, the roll rate is not super fast. But that's not the point of this thing. It's you know, it's not a 3D plane. It's just a little warbird that's a blast to fly anywhere. This thing is great because I just toss it in my truck, I go to work, I get on lunch, and I will just throw this up in the parking lot. It's the most convenient plane. It's got to have doubled or tripled my flight time during the week just because you can toss it up anywhere at any time. The batteries charge really fast. It comes with a little tiny lipo battery charger that runs off 4 AA's, so as long as you got 4 AA's lying around, you plug those in and you toss in your little, I think it's 120 milliamp hour lipo. That thing charges up in, you know, an average of 10 to 15 minutes. It says it's supposed to take longer, but I've never had it take longer. So, and buy a couple extras of these. I went to Hobby King and picked up a bunch of, I think they're 160s. I'd have to double check. They're 160 or 180 milliamp, and you'd think the big difference in that would really throw off the CG and the flight characteristics of the plane, but honestly, I can't even notice a difference between the two. I get about a minute or two more flight time on the turnigy lipos, and they work just amazing. So, you know, I've never seen a downside to it, and they're like $1.50 a piece or something like that. So pick some of those up as spares and get them shipped out, because you're going to want to fly so many batteries back to back, because this thing is just a blast to fly. Let's see, couple notes on the flying characteristics. It has almost no stall tendencies. That's one of the great reasons for the T-28 Trojan being such a good aileron trainer, is because you can fly this thing almost to stall speed and your wings stay completely level. You can actually get it to tip stall, but it catches itself so quickly it almost never results in a wreck unless you're just practically hovering over the ground, which you sort of can do on a fresh battery, almost. But this thing was really fun. I was just blown away by it. I thought, you know, I thought it was going to be a little gimmick, but it really wasn't. It's a full plane. So I would definitely recommend everyone has one of these just as a fun flick around plane. Another note that I did, as I was flying it out in front of my house for the first time, since it's, you know, just a regular tricycle landing gear setup, it will occasionally just fall flat on its face. You know, you'll put it down, a wind will hit it, or you just kind of mess up your landing, and it will just dig its nose into the ground and come screeching to a halt, which of course takes all of 3 seconds because it weighs nothing. But the downside to it is your prop moves out of the way, and you can see the foam is kind of getting bitten up on the cowl if you're flying over concrete. So what I did to stop that, a lot of people are probably just taking red Sharpies and kind of whiting, redding out the little white dots of foam that are getting gouged out of the plane. Good solution I found: take some ultra coat or ultra trim if you want the smaller pieces. The straight red ultra coat almost matches their paint perfectly, and you just cut out a tiny little rectangle of that, stick it right over the front of the cowl all the way up to where the prop starts, and go back probably about an inch, just a tiny little piece. Stick that on there and hit it very, very lightly with low temperature heat with an iron. If you've got an iron, you could probably just do it with the adhesive alone and you wouldn't have any trouble. But if you want it to stay on really good, you have to heat that stuff. Be very, very careful, because this foam is temperature sensitive, so you don't want to overheat it, because you will shrink it and you will kind of melt it away. If you're careful with your temperature, you can get it just to the point that you activate the glue on the ultra coat, but you don't damage the foam beneath it. So I did that, and I'm like face planting this thing left and right and not seeing even a scratch on that ultra coat. So just that tiny little piece of coating has made the plane significantly more durable. Granted, I've folded the wings and done all sorts of stupid stuff where I've hurt it in other ways, but nothing that, a piece of tape or bending my little fiber control horn back into place didn't fix. So amazingly, I've smashed this thing into the ground pretty good, and I'm pretty much always flying within a couple seconds. There's nothing that I've done to it that I've had to actually stop and repair. If you're a big fan of flying inverted, do that strip on the top too, because I piled it into the ground flying inverted at one point, and yes, it does the exact same thing on the top as it will on the bottom. It will just dig its nose into the ground. Granted, I should not have been that close to the ground flying inverted, but that's the whole fun of this thing. Overall, just really fun little plane and cheap. So, pick one up. There's some time left in the video here, so I'm going to leave you with that. Enjoy a couple running passes here. I do a couple touch and goes and some landings, and I smash into myself, and then I almost smash into myself. So stay tuned for more reviews. I've got a bunch of stuff coming. I've got a Hobby King CUDA coming in. I just put up a Charger review. Theoretically, I should have a big monster P51 review coming up, and more after that. So subscribe, thumbs up, and hope you guys enjoy your day. Thanks a lot. Bye. Ah.